There are stories that begin with power, and others that begin with pain. But this one begins with a billionaire Arab executive unlocking his $600,000 Rolls Royce at dawn, only to find a trembling homeless girl sleeping in a backseat, clutching a torn photograph like her life depended on it. What he discovered next would expose lies that had been buried for 18 years, ignite a scandal across the Middle East, and change the course of his empire forever. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. This helps us bring more dramatic and inspiring stories like this straight to you. Now, let's begin. The sun had just begun to bleed gold across the skyline of Dubai when Sheikh Rami Al Sayed stepped out his private elevator and walked toward his reserved parking space beneath the Al Sayed Financial Tower. At 41 years old, he was the youngest billionaire executive in the region, a man known for transforming bankrupt companies into global giants. Precision defined his life. Control guided every hour. Nothing surprised him anymore. Until that morning, his footsteps slowed when he noticed something out of place. The back window of his ivory-white Rolls-Royce Phantom was slightly fogged from the inside. Strange. No one touched his car. No one dared. Even the security team kept their distance. Rami frowned and unlocked the car. The soft click echoed through the silent garage. And then he saw her. A girl, no older than 18 or 19, curled up on the leather seats, barefoot, wearing an oversized hoodie smeared with dust. Her knees were pulled to her chest, her arms wrapped tightly around a small, torn photograph. She looked like she had spent nights running and losing. For the first time in years, Rami felt something stir inside him. Pity? No. Something deeper. Something unsettling. He cleared his throat. Hey, you can't be here. Her eyes snapped open, wide, terrified. The kind of fear that didn't come from being caught, but from surviving something worse. She scrambled backward, hitting the door. I'm sorry. Please don't call the police. Please. I didn't steal anything. I was cold in the car. It was open. I swear I didn't touch anything. Her voice cracked, and for a moment, Rami saw the truth in her face. She wasn't criminal. She was exhausted. Calm down, he said. What's your name? She hesitated, gripping the torn photograph so tightly her knuckles turned white. Amira. The name felt like it didn't belong to her. Too elegant for a girl with shaking hands and a bruised cheek. She tried to hide. Rami exhaled slowly. Amira, you shouldn't be here. This is private property. I just needed somewhere safe, she whispered. Her voice wasn't just tired, it was defeated. Rami noticed something else. She was protecting the photograph like it was sacred. Whose picture is that? She froze. Her breathing quickened. It's nothing, she said too quickly. I'll leave. I won't cause trouble. But when she shifted, the photo slipped from her fingers and landed on the floor mat. Rami picked it up before she could stop him. At first, he didn't understand what he was looking at. It was an old, faded photograph of a man wearing traditional Emirati clothing, a man with striking features, a man who looked. Rami's heart jolted. It was his father, a much younger version, standing beside a woman Rami had never seen before, holding a baby wrapped in a blue blanket. He looked at Amira. She wasn't breathing. She wasn't blinking. Her eyes were filled with dread. Why? Rami asked, his voice sharp and low. Do you have a picture of my father holding a baby? Amira swallowed hard. Because, her voice cracked, that baby was me. For a moment, the world around Sheikh Rami Al Sayed went silent. The low hum of the garage lights, the distant echo of a security door closing, even his own breath. Everything disappeared under the weight of Amira's words. That baby was me. Rami stared at her, the faded photograph trembling between his fingers. His father, Sheikh Karim Al Sayed, had died 10 years earlier and had been praised across the Middle East as a man of honor, integrity, and traditional values. A devoted husband, a protector of the family name, a man whose reputation was untouchable. So how could there be a picture of him holding an unknown woman's baby? Explain, Rami said, keeping his voice steady despite the storm rising inside him. Amira lowered her eyes. I wasn't supposed to exist. At least, Not publicly. My mother used to say that. Her answer only deepened the confusion twisting through Rami's mind. He motioned to the passenger door. Get out of the car. She froze. For a heartbeat, fear flashed across her face. Fear that he might hand her over to the authorities or throw her back to the streets she clearly knew too well. But he stepped back, his expression unreadable, giving her space. Slowly, she stepped out. Up close, the signs were clearer. She had gone without sleep for days, perhaps weeks. Dirt clung to her clothes, and her shoes were nearly falling apart. She hugged the sleeves of her oversized hoodie around her thin body. Start talking, Rami said. Amira inhaled shakily. My mother met your father in 2005. He was traveling alone in Morocco. She worked at a small hotel near Marrakesh. She hesitated. They had a relationship. Secretly. Rami clenched his jaw. His father had always been a strict nationalist, deeply traditional, and he had never mentioned a single trip to Morocco. Go on. When my mother got pregnant, she didn't know who to trust. She tried to reach him. She wrote letters, sent messages, but she never got a reply. Not one. And then her voice wavered. Then men started following her. 2, sometimes 3. Always wearing black. Always watching. Watching for what? Rami asked, to make sure she never spoke. Rami stepped back slightly. Amira continued. When I was born, she kept me hidden. We moved constantly. Morocco, Tunisia, then Spain. She never stayed in one place for more than 6 months. She blinked rapidly, fighting emotion. She said your father wanted to protect his reputation, that he had powerful enemies, that if anyone ever found out about us, it would destroy him. Rami's pulse hammered in his ears. His father, a man known for his discipline and loyalty, leading a secret double life, fathering a child he hid from the world. The thought felt like a betrayal, a crack in the foundation of everything Rami believed about his own upbringing. Do you expect me to believe this? He said sharply. Amira lifted her trembling gaze. No, I expect you to believe this. She reached into her hoodie and pulled out another item, an old envelope, yellowed at the edges, sealed but wrinkled from time. She handed it to him with both hands. My mother died 2 months ago, she whispered. This was the last thing she gave me. She said it was for you. Rami felt something twist deeply in his chest as he looked at the handwriting. It was unmistakable, his father's elegant Arabic calligraphy. To my son, Rami, written with the same steady, precise penmanship that had signed dozens of multimillion-dollar deals. The envelope suddenly felt heavier than gold. Where did you find this? He asked. It was hidden in the lining of her suitcase. She told me that if anything happened to her, I needed to find you, no matter what it cost. Rami felt his throat tighten. That explained the bruises, the exhaustion, the fear. Someone had been chasing her. Someone who didn't want this truth to surface. Who's after you? He asked. Amira flinched. I don't know their names. They just kept coming. Everywhere I stayed, they would appear. My mother said they were from your father's side. But I don't know if that meant his family or his enemies. His stomach dropped. The Al Sayyid Empire was built not only on influence but on rivalries. His father had led mergers, taken over competitors, and broken alliances when necessary. Some families still held grudges. Amira looked at him, voice trembling. I've been running since the night my mother died. The last place she and I lived was burned down in the middle of the night. I escaped through a window. Rami's eyes sharpened. Burned down? She nodded. On purpose. And you came in my car? I didn't know it was yours. I recognized the Al Sayyid emblem on the plate. My mother told me that if I ever became desperate, I should look for anything connected to that name. Her voice cracked. I just wanted somewhere safe to sleep. Just one night. Rami ran a hand over his face. For the first time since he took over the company, he was facing a situation he couldn't control with money, influence, or logic. A homeless girl, a secret daughter, his father's hidden past, men chasing her across continents. A letter addressed him from a man who had been dead for a decade. He opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper. He unfolded it slowly. But before he could read a single word, the garage lights flickered, then went out completely. Darkness swallowed them. Amira gasped, and somewhere in the shadows, a pair of footsteps echoed, slow, deliberate, approaching the car. The sudden blackout in the underground garage felt unnatural, too precise, too perfectly timed. Sheikh Rami Al-Sayed's instinct sharpened instantly. He had built empires by recognizing danger before it struck, and every part of him now whispered the same warning. They were not alone. Amira's breath trembled in the dark. "Rami, what's happening?" "Stay close," he murmured. The footsteps echoed again, slow and heavy, as if whoever was approaching wanted to be heard. Someone confident, someone unafraid. Rami slipped a letter from his father into his pocket and positioned himself slightly in front of Amira. Even without light, he could feel her shaking behind him. The exhaustion, the bruises, the months of running. She had no strength left to face another threat. He, on the other hand, had spent 2 decades fighting corporate predators. This was different, but the instinct remained. Protect what matters. "Who's there?" he called out. No answer, only footsteps. Then, faintly, a red emergency light flickered to life along the far wall, casting a dim glow across the garage. Enough to see shapes. Enough to see movement. A man stood about 40 feet away, dressed in black from head to toe, a cap pulled low over his eyes, face half hidden in shadow. He wasn't armed, not visibly, but something about his posture screamed danger. He didn't move toward them. He didn't retreat. He simply watched. Amira gasped and grabbed Rami's arm. "That's one of them," she whispered. "I saw him in Spain and in Casablanca, always watching." Rami's blood ran cold. "How'd he find you here?" he asked. I don't know," she stammered. The man took one step forward. Rami reacted instantly. He nudged Amira behind him, pulled out his phone, and pressed a single number. It rang once. "Emergency security protocol," he said sharply into the phone. "Now." The man in black froze. Within 10 seconds, the garage erupted into motion. Lights snapped back on at full brightness as backup generators restored power, and heavy metal gates slammed down across all exits. Alarms buzzed. Cameras whirred back to life. But the man in black didn't run. He stared directly at Rami, then lifted 2 fingers to his cap in a mocking half-salute before turning and sprinting between 2 parked SUVs. "Rami!" Amira cried, but Rami was already moving. He bolted after the man, his footsteps pounding against the concrete floor. The intruder weaved through vehicles with practiced precision, heading for a service door that shouldn't have been accessible to anyone outside the building staff. That meant one thing. He had inside help. Rami pushed harder, closing the distance, but the man reached the door first. He nodded once, as if acknowledging a worthy rival, then slipped through the narrow opening just as security arrived. "Sir," the guards yelled, "we're sealing the building. Don't let him escape." Rami barked, but when the guards forced the door open, they found an empty service corridor. No footsteps, no exit, nothing but silence. The man had vanished. Again, Rami clenched his fists. This wasn't random. This wasn't coincidence. Whoever was hunting Amira had resources, connections, and a reason. One strong enough to infiltrate the Al-Sayed Tower, sabotage the power, and twist the situation into a warning. When Rami returned to the garage, he found Amira standing still in the center of the lot, hugging her arms tightly around herself. "Is he gone?" she whispered. "For now," Rami said, "but this changes everything." He guided her toward the elevator. "You're coming with me." "No, I shouldn't," she protested. "They'll hurt you too. My mother, she warned me. She said the people chasing us were powerful, dangerous. They don't want the truth out." "Let them try," Rami said coldly. "I don't run from threats." She hesitated before stepping inside the elevator. "You don't understand. These people, they're connected to your family." Rami froze. "What?" Amira swallowed hard. "My mother said they weren't just rivals. She said they came from inside the Al-Sayed circle. People close to your father. People who swore to protect his image at any cost." The elevator doors closed. "And now," she whispered, "they think I'm trying to destroy his legacy." The words hit Rami like a punch to the chest. Loyalty to the outside name was absolute within his extended family and business empire. Some relatives were ambitious, ruthless, and willing to guard the family's reputation like a sacred relic. But would they really hunt a girl across continents? As the elevator ascended, Rami felt the weight of the envelope in his pocket, his father's letter, the answers he needed. He turned to Amira. "I'm taking you to my private suite. No one has access there but me. You'll be safe." She nodded, though her eyes were still clouded with fear. When they stepped out on the 101st floor, she stared in disbelief at the view. The entire city of Dubai stretching out like a sea of lights beneath them. She had lived in alleyways, abandoned buildings, train stations. This world was beyond anything she had ever known. "You live here," she whispered. "It's not home," Rami said quietly. "Just a place to sleep." She looked at him, seeing something in his expression she hadn't noticed before. Loneliness, a softness beneath the steel. He offered her water, food, and a place to rest on the sofa. Then he walked to his desk, pulled out the envelope, and sat down. Amira watched him anxiously. With a deep breath, Rami opened the letter. His father's handwriting flowed elegantly across the page. But the message was something Rami never could have expected. Something that shattered everything he believed about his father. Something that connected directly to Amira and to a secret buried for nearly 2 decades. He read the first line. "My son, if you are reading this, then I have failed to protect her." Rami's breath caught. "Failed to protect who?" His father continued. "There's something you must know about the girl who may one day find you." Rami felt the blood drain from his face. He looked up slowly at Amira. She stared back, terrified. "Tell me," Rami whispered, voice cold and trembling. "What exactly did my father fail to protect?" Amira's eyes filled with tears, and then she spoke. For several long seconds, Amira couldn't form a single word. Her lips trembled, her fingers twisted around the edge of her sleeve, and her eyes glistened with the fear of someone who had carried too much truth for far too long. Rami rose slowly from his chair, every muscle tight, every breath measured. "Amira," his voice was low, steady, but dangerously close to breaking. "What did my father fail to protect?" She swallowed hard. "Me. But it wasn't only me." Rami's pulse quickened. "Then who?" Amira stepped closer to the window, looking out over the glittering skyline, as though searching for strength in the lights below. "My mother," she whispered, "and someone he trusted." She turned around, meeting his eyes. "Your father didn't abandon us. He didn't ignore her letters. He wasn't hiding me because of shame, Rami. He was hiding us because someone inside his own circle tried to make us disappear." Rami felt the room tilt slightly, like the ground beneath him was quietly shifting. "Who?" he demanded. Amira inhaled shakily. "My mother never said his name. She just called him the shadow behind the throne. Someone close to your father, someone with enough power to make people vanish." Rami's stomach twisted. His father had many allies, board members, cousins, advisors, longtime business partners, men with money, ambition, and egos sharp as blades. But only a few had been truly close to him, and only one had always seemed to linger at the edges of every decision, every trip, every meeting. Amir Kadim Al-Sayed, his father's right hand, his cousin, and the man who, today, controlled half the board. Rami didn't speak the name aloud, but the thought alone made his jaw clench. "Finish," he said. Amira's voice softened. "My mother told me that your father planned to bring us into the family, quietly at first. He wanted to meet with her again. He wanted to protect us from whoever had threatened her. But before he could—" She paused, breath trembling. "Before he could, he died." Rami closed his eyes. His father's death had been ruled a sudden heart attack. The family had buried him quickly, in honor and tradition. No autopsy, no questions. But now, "What are you implying?" he asked quietly. Amira hesitated. "My mother believed his death wasn't natural." Silence, not the silence of disbelief, but the silence of a truth that struck too deeply to ignore. Rami lowered himself into the chair again, hands clasped tightly. "And this letter?" he asked, voice rough. "What does it say?" She motioned slowly toward the page he held. Rami looked down at his father's handwriting. "My son, if this letter reaches you, then I was not able to shield her from those who wish her gone. You must understand something you were never told, something I hoped to reveal myself when the time was right." Rami's heartbeat quickened. He continued reading. "You have a sister." The words echoed in his mind like thunder. A sister, a blood relative, someone who shared his father's face, his blood, his history, someone he never knew existed. His voice came out barely above a whisper. "This makes you my—" Amira finished softly. "Yes, your sister." Rami stood up abruptly, running both hands through his hair. "This is impossible. My father, he never—" But the words collapsed before they could form. His father had been secretive, private, protective, even controlling. The man had always insisted that family matters were handled behind closed doors. Now Rami understood why. He looked again at the letter. "If she finds you, Rami, protect her. She will be hunted. She will be lied to, and she will carry truths that many wish buried." Rami's breath turned cold. Amira whispered, "Someone killed my mother. Someone followed us for years. Someone burned down every place we lived. They won't stop until I'm gone. And now that I found you—" Her voice cracked. "They'll come after you too." At that exact moment, the elevator dinged. But Rami hadn't called anyone. Neither had security. Amira's eyes widened with panic. Rami moved fast. He pressed a button beneath his desk, instantly sealing the suite's doors with reinforced titanium panels. The sound echoed like thunder rolling across steel. Boom, boom, boom. Someone outside was pounding on the sealed door. "Open it!" a man's voice shouted. "Sheikh Rami, we need to speak with you urgently." Rami recognized the voice. Security Chief Malik. Why would he come up without warning? Rami approached the door cautiously. "What is it?" "There's an emergency downstairs, sir," Malik said. "A break-in. We need your biometric authorization in person." Rami frowned. That was a lie. His security system didn't acquire in-person authorization for break-ins. Ever. And Malik knew that. "Identify the breach location." Rami called out. Silence. Too long of a silence. Then Malik spoke again, voice flat, rehearsed. "In the lower maintenance corridor." Another lie. Rami felt dread rise in his chest. Whoever was outside that door, whether it was Malik or someone impersonating him, he couldn't trust them. He stepped back. Amira stood frozen, fear widening her eyes. And then, the power cut again. The entire 101st floor plunged into darkness, but only for 3 seconds. Enough time for fear to bloom. Enough time for danger to shift. Lights snapped back on. The metal panels sealing the suite were no longer sealed. The lock lights blinked red. Someone had hacked the override. Rami moved instantly. "Amira, get behind the sofa. Don't move." Her breath trembled, but she obeyed. The suite door slid open slowly. A shadow filled the doorway. Tall, confident, familiar. Amir Kadim Al-Sayed, Rami's cousin, his father's most trusted ally, the man he had just suspected. Amir stepped inside with a pleasant smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Well," Amir said softly, closing the door behind him, "so the girl finally found you." Amira gasped. Rami's eyes narrowed. Amir smirked. "Good. It saved me a great deal of time." Amir Kadim Al-Sayed entered the suite as if he owned the sky beneath his feet. His posture was relaxed, but there was something predatory in the way his eyes scanned the room. Sharp, calculating, cold. The kind of cold that had no conscience attached to it. Rami stepped forward, blocking Amir from view. "Why are you here, Amir?" Amir tilted his head. "Come now, cousin. You're too smart to ask questions you already know the answers to." "You hacked my suite," Rami said. "You cut the power. You chased a girl across 3 continents. His voice hardened. "Why, Amir?" Amir's gaze drifted past him, just slightly, catching the edge of Amira's hoodie peeking from behind the sofa. His smile widened. "So it's true," Amir murmured. "She made it." "She's my sister," Rami said. "Our family." Amir's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. Not shock, not guilt, annoyance. "She's a threat," Amir replied flatly. "To the family, to the empire, to everything your father built." Rami took a step forward. "My father wrote a letter. He trusted her. He wanted her protected. He said—" "I know what he said," Amir interrupted, his jaw tense for the first time. "I know exactly what he planned. And that is precisely why I couldn't allow it." The room fell silent. Rami felt the air thicken, the truth circling him like smoke. "You tried to kill her," he whispered. "You and whoever follows you." Amir didn't deny it. He simply sighed, as if discussing an inconvenient business matter. "Your father was preparing to bring her into the family," Amir said. "A girl born outside tradition, outside marriage, outside control. Do you have any idea what that would have done to the board, to our reputation, to the alliances your father worked decades to build?" Rami stared at him. "So you hunted a child?" "A child who shouldn't exist," Amir said, his voice firm and frighteningly calm. "Your father's mistake. And mistakes must be erased." Amira let out a quiet sob. Amir's eyes flicked toward her. She should have disappeared with her mother. But fate insisted on dragging her back. "So now," Rami cut him off. "Touch her and I swear." Amir raised a hand. "Enough. I'm not here to hurt anyone. I'm here because you, Rami, you are standing between the truth and the world. Your father's secret dies with us or destroys everything." Rami stepped in front of Amira, shielding her fully. "You don't get to decide who lives or dies in this family." Amir's expression hardened. "I have been protecting this family since before you were old enough to sign your first contract. I held your father's empire together after he died. I cleaned the messes he left behind. And now you treat me as a villain?" "You burned her mother alive," Rami said quietly. For the first time, Amir blinked, caught off guard. Rami pressed on. "You followed Amira for years. You terrorized her. You hid the truth. You lied to the family. And you expect gratitude?" Amir's jaw tightened. "You're emotional," he said, "thinking with your heart instead of your position. But you forget, cousin. I know you. I know the man your father raised. The man who values order, control, legacy." "You're wrong," Rami replied. "I value truth." Amir's face shifted. Subtly, a small, bitter smile formed. "Then I suppose we've reached the end," he said softly. He reached into his jacket. Amira gasped, but Amir didn't pull out a weapon. He pulled out a folder. He tossed it onto the table. Papers spilled out, contracts, photos, financial records. All the proof. Amir said, "Every trace of your father's secret, every witness, every document, everything that ties her to him." Rami stared at the pile. Amir nodded at it. "Burn it. Destroy it. Tear it apart. Do it now, and no one will ever know. And the girl goes free. She can disappear. Change her name. Start a new life far from here. Everyone wins." Rami didn't move. Amir leaned in slightly. "But if you don't, if you let this truth live, the board will attack you. Investors will flee. Rivals will feast. Our empire will crumble. And your father's name will rot in the sun." He gestured to Amira. "And she will die. They will hunt her forever. This ends only one of two ways." Rami inhaled slowly. For the first time, Amir's voice softened, almost pleading. "Choose the family, Rami." Rami looked at the folder, then at Amir, then at Amira, his sister, small, shaking, staring at him as though he were the only lifeline she had left in the world. And then Rami understood. Family wasn't built from reputation, not from bloodline pride, not from empires polished for the world. Family was built from protection, from truth, from sacrifice. He stepped forward, picked up the folder, and walked toward the fireplace. Amir exhaled in relief. But Rami didn't throw the papers into the fire. He held them, turned, and looked his cousin dead in the eye. "My father built his empire on honor," Rami said. "You built yours on fear, and I will not become you." Amir's face changed instantly, anger exploding through his mask. "Rami, don't you—" Rami cut him off. "You're finished, Amir." He pressed a small button under the mantle. Amir froze. Hidden security cameras emerged from the walls. Every angle focused on Amir. "Everything you just confessed," Rami said, "was recorded." Amir's eyes widened. At that moment, armed security stormed the suite. Rami's personal elite team, loyal only to him. They surrounded Amir. "No!" Amir shouted. "Rami, think. You're making a mistake. The board will never—" "The board will see your crimes," Rami said calmly. "The world will see the truth. And Amira, my sister, will finally be safe." Amira covered her mouth with her hands, tears flowing down her cheeks. As security dragged Amir out, he screamed, "You're destroying the family." Rami answered quietly, "No, I'm saving it." When the door closed, Rami turned to Amira. She stared at him, broken, tired, but alive. "Amira," he said gently, "you're home now." For the first time in months, maybe years, she let herself breathe. "Thank you," she whispered. And in that moment, Dubai's skyline glittered with something new. Hope. If this story moved you, remember this. Courage isn't about protecting a legacy. It's about protecting the people who depend on you. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this video with someone who loves powerful, emotional stories. Your support helps us bring more inspiring tales like this to life.